Welcome to the Advertising Forum. This is episode 4 of our Currency series, sponsored by Comscore.
Today we have Jackelyn Keller, the Chief Marketing Officer of Comscore, to share the future and evolution of currency. We're really glad to have you here with us today. Welcome to the Advertising Forum.
Thank you so much for having me. And I think by currency, in layman's terms, you mean how we make money in advertising.
You know what? I love that because that's my first question to you. What exactly defines a currency in advertising?
Not going to lie, like when I hear the word currency, I get a little bored. I love money. I love making money. I love using money. Definitely love shopping, but I get a little bored. So I want to just pause and think about what currency traditionally has meant and kind of get rid of the boredom and then talk about what it could be and what it already is, specifically in the context of the programmatic ecosystem. So I think for many of us, at least for me, anyone who grew up in the linear space, it was a one-size-fits-all type of currency. Not to say it's a little boring, but it's not as exciting as it could be. And currency means that there's only one way, there's only one path to do something, and that's demo buying. And this is still largely the way we're exchanging and we're transacting with traditional TV. And the way we view it here at Comscore is the world is our oyster. There's a lot of different opportunities. And I think the best way to think about currency is I like traveling. I'm sure, Jeremy, do you like traveling? I don't know. A little bit. Whoever's traveled abroad, if you've even gone to Canada or down to Mexico, they don't take the US dollars there. You actually have to exchange it for something else. It's shocking. I know. It's very exciting if you have children like I do. You could go exchange money and they're like, wow, this is like Monopoly money. And you're like, it is, but it's not. It's not actually like, you can't lose that money like you do with your Monopoly money. So I think what's exciting today with digital tech and the opportunity around currency or how we make money is that partners like Comscore, we can take that Canadian dollar and maybe an advertiser or brand, they have a specific reach KPI. We could do that top of funnel. We then have the USD. You could go down the funnel with engagement across whatever channel, whether that's social, whether that's streaming, whether that's traditional linear TV, local included. And then when it comes to outcomes, you could optimize for that outcome. And I think that's what's so powerful because it's no longer a world where you are transacting on one type of currency and you are kind of stuck in that media plan for the entire year. You actually have the flexibility to better understand consumers and actually optimize specific buys and figure out if you're traveling to Canada or if you're traveling to Latin America, and we help you with whatever currency you're looking to use.
You know, Comscore was born in Y2K, 1999, I believe. How has it changed and what is Comscore doing today in comparison to what it was doing 25 years ago?
I love this question because I think we all know where we were. For those who were born in 1999, we all remember that New Year's Eve where you're just like, what's going to happen, right? And now we laugh, but it was kind of a big deal back then. So we were around then, which is powerful because when you think of the internet, we invented video measurement on the internet. Like we've been around the block and we're only 25. Like we're just in our adulting era now, but it's powerful in terms of how we've evolved from being, I don't know, in our diapers back in 1999 and 2001 up until today. And I think our business reflects the consumer journey because when you think about measurement, I think largely it was, right, there was one type of currency and there was a one size fits all, and measurement happened after the fact. Like data was static, it was stale. You would find a brand lift study 6 months later and say like brand teams would be like, okay, how are we going to change what we're doing the next cycle? It's insane if you think about it because now we have real-time or close to real-time decisioning, which is really powerful. So I would say in the context of Comscore, we were probably just a measurement company largely focused on media. And I think what we are and what we've evolved into is we are a data company and we are in the business of measuring, right? Measurement is always happening, but we're really understanding consumers, understanding that consumer journey and going back to the analogy of the pesos and the dollars, understanding what a brand wants to do and understanding what an audience or consumer wants to do. And we're helping matchmake between those different sides of the house. So I would say we are a data company, which includes measurement, but not just measurement.
That's great. So that leads us into our next question. I was going to ask you simply how Comscore is streamlining or unifying the multiple currency chaos that's taking place outside of the ecosystem of tariffs and whatnot. When you think about just different countries in North America, different currencies, when you think about when you think about all the different currencies that all the different partners that Comscore uses, there's a lot of chaos in our industry. So how do you unify all of that? How do you thrive in all of that?
How do we thrive in chaos? I sense a theme here. Well, I think everyone has said this, like not all data is created equal, and it's true. So we are a data company, but I think partnership is key. We are a unicorn when it comes to being one of the companies with a lot of data, because anyone can have data really nowadays, right? Well, gardens can have data, but we are one of the only companies that don't have an ad business. We do not have an ad revenue stream like many utilities have. So I think that makes our kind of objective really clear. We're that trusted third party because we're not going to incentivize you to spend within our walls. We want you to, as a brand and as a content owner, to basically sell the most effective way you can, and for a brand to buy that ad space in the most effective manner. We want to be that single source of truth from a data perspective. So what we do is really play nice in the sandbox. We're going out and we're collaborating across the ecosystem. That's with ad tech partners. That's with agencies. That's with what has historically been called like the buy side or the sell side. But right, there's new buy and sell sides in the context of the programmatic ecosystem. And I think what makes us so powerful is because we were born in 1999, not 92, not gonna, because we were born on the eve of Y2K, we have this ability where we were built from the bottom up. So we have, I say like we're similar to Apple. We have the ability to flex because of the way we have built our infrastructure. We've been using big data for over 10 years to make it our process more accurate. So being able to understand and collect and connect the dots across the different platforms makes Comscore really unique, and our ability to simplify and provide clarity to partners. And that could be in linear environments, or that could be in traditional digital environments, or what's growing rapidly and we're really excited about in the year ahead is in CTV and streaming environments. So having that single denominator gives clarity to brands that they're trying to understand consumers wherever they are. And there is a lot of chaos. Like I was sharing with someone else earlier today that I didn't realize how much time I spent on my phone while I'm watching something. And I was watching a show that was in Italian with like subtitles. And I realized I kept missing the plot. And it's because I'm never actually just staring at the TV. I'm doing something else all the time. So how can we really understand consumers? Well, you need a partner like Comscore who can do that. And you need a partner that has those relationships and those integrations and will take all the data and make sense of it in order to give it back to you, Mr. Advertiser or content owner or ad tech platform.
You know, Jackelyn, you mentioned something. You mentioned, the traditional and the digital and the streaming and making sense of all this data and how you leverage that to provide these, measurement solutions to your clients. But how do you make invisible products visible? And how do you bring them to life?
What a question by ad tech god. That was good.
That is.
I'm here all day.
How do we? You're here all day. I think what you're asking, it's fun. This is something I discussed at our company's all hands last week. Is really we are in the business of data, and how do we personify data? And I don't mean personification for those who are familiar with personification in local markets. It's where we have this ability to understand households, but also the people in the household, and we're able to make sure that we're counting. It all adds up in a small market, right? We cover all 210 markets. I don't mean it in that way, in the industry way. I mean it truly in personification. Like if you Googled it way, it's taking something that's abstract and it's attaching it to like a human quality. How do we do that with data? That's actually, I've been busy at work doing that since joining the company. And one example I'll give you is we created a Super Bowl map. So instead of just pushing out what viewership looked like, we created a map of all 210 markets. And we obviously, it's the Super Bowl, you're a little competitive. We wanted to say, are you a super fan? So like, were you watching the whole time? Or maybe I'm a Swiftie, so as your team was not winning, did you flip off your television? And those we called more cash fans. So just making it interactive and showing visually what that looks like in practice. Those are the types of things that are going to be really important when you want to bring to life these largely invisible products. And yeah, I'm having a ton of fun doing it. Honestly, I'm a creative. I've worked in branded content, so in a way, this is a dream. It's taking all of these like cool visualizations and applying it to an entire business. It's awesome.
Just so you know, we love your passion. This has been an incredible episode. And thank you again. And thank you to Comscore for sponsoring this series on currency. And thank you for helping us define it today, Jackelyn. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, and
So
I hope
much
to
fun.
time travel one day. That's the next goal, right? We'll have to figure out what that currency looks like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jackelyn.
Thanks. Have a good one.